Hi, welcome back, Trev here. This is lesson 5 of my Introduction to Guitar course. Today we're going to be looking at scales, really important for developing your finger strength. And we're also going to look at some technique which will be really useful for like soloing. So we're going to look at bends, hammer-ons, pull-offs, some slides and harmonics. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to show you a very simple scale called the E minor pentatonic. This uses open strings, which is your strings with no fingers on at all, and sort of one finger per string. Okay, so it goes 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0. Okay, so let's try together really slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've made a few videos about scales in the past actually, so if you want to have a look at them, go to one of these. Okay, so the reason scales are really important is to develop your fingers, basically. So it's to develop the dexterity so they can kind of move around a bit more independently, and also kind of the pressure and developing a kind of a callus on each individual fingertip. If you're just sort of starting, you might find this quite difficult. So I'll go slowly and see how you get on. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and you're going to do that on the next string. And then we'll do it on the next string. And then the next string. And then the next string. And then the last string. Okay, and let's see if we can do the other way. So generally in scales we'll line up our fingers one finger per fret. So you kind of want to encourage your fingers to kind of be spaced out a little bit. Okay, another scale which is really useful is the C major scale, and those of you who play piano know that that's actually all of the white keys on the piano. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, it's a little bit more complicated on guitar, so if we just take it slowly. So put your third finger on the 3rd fret of the 5th string, and then the next string we've got 0, 2, 3, then 0, 2, and then 0, 1. Okay, let's try it really slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try it a bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if you want some more advanced scales, I have put some grade 3 classical scales in a video here. I want to just teach you one which is quite useful for improvising, and we're going to use a bit later in the course when we do the blues. So this is called the A pentatonic minor, which will start on fret 5. So if we're in 5th position, starting on fret 5, line your hand up with one finger per fret, just like you would do in open position. So this time I'm just going to call out the finger numbers rather than the fret numbers. 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1. 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. Goes a bit low for me to sing. Sometimes you might put an extra finger on the top. So I really like this scale. It's very useful for soloing. I kind of think of it almost like you've got 1, 4, fingers 1 and 4 on kind of the edge, and then 1 and 3 sort of in the middle. So you can kind of simplify the pattern. So for more advanced players, I'm going to show you a C major scale which is 2 octaves in the 7th position. So if you remember, 7th position means you move your hand up to the 7th fret, and then we still line one finger per fret. And this scale goes like this. If you also look in my picking hand, I'm going down, up, down, up. So classical guitarists will be using their fingers and alternating like that. Electric guitarists, if you could try to alternate your picking, that's really useful to get kind of good advanced technique. Okay, in terms of technique, I want to just do a couple of little things. First of all, I want to do a hammer-on and a pull-off. So if you pick a string, I'm going to pick string 2, the B, and then if you play it and then push a finger on without re-plucking it, that's called a hammer-on. So if you can see, I'm making 2 notes with one pick. This can become very useful if you're doing something very fast. So that's how players get really fast at their guitar playing. The opposite of that is when you've got a finger and then you pull it sideways, called a pull-off. So try maybe picking a string, put finger 3 on, and then pull to the side. Okay, you could also add them together, so you can go hammer on and then pull off. And some famous guitarists like Jimi Hendrix really kind of maximised their use of kind of hammer-ons and pull-offs, and I don't know, some of you might know he kind of pretended to play with his teeth. I don't know if he was actually playing with his teeth, but I suspect he might have been using hammer-ons and pull-offs to get that kind of effect of playing without having to kind of pluck the guitar. Okay, another technique is a bend. So if you play a note and then push it, what you're doing there is you're actually kind of just shortening the string ever so slightly. Okay, and then release it. So you can go, okay. As a beginner, you might find that the middle of the guitar is actually easier to push because it's nearer a bendy point. Okay, so that's a bend. Some of my students sometimes see a little kind of arrow going up and like a quarter or a half. So a quarter means a quarter of a tone. So a quarter of a tone would be sort of like the equivalent of half of one fret, okay? So it's not very much. A half tone is one whole fret. And sometimes you might see a bend of a whole tone, so that's 2 frets. Okay, so you've got different amounts. Sometimes it might just say bend, but if you want to get a little bit more advanced with it, see if you can practice bending by a quarter of a tone, half a tone, and a whole tone. A bit more advanced bend is where you might pre-bend. So you might bend the string, pluck it, and then release. So something else my students come across is a slide. So a slide is where you pluck a note and then you kind of slide your finger one way or the other, like that. So sometimes it gives you a specified place that it's going to, or sometimes it might just be a line up or down, just showing the direction. So you might get that sort of sound. Quite fun. And again, this can make it sound more fluent. It's used in classical guitar and electric guitar, just to make kind of a smoother flow. So have a play with that. Okay, and I also want to talk about harmonics. So harmonics are basically points on the string where you get a different sort of resonating frequency. So if you think, if I play my E string, that's vibrating that whole string and it's kind of wobbling around. If I put my finger on the 12th fret, which is actually halfway, it sort of doubles the frequency and it makes a bell. So let me turn it up a little bit. If you can hear that. So what you're hearing is basically like the string, sort of half as much string. So you're hearing that bit really. Okay. Sounds a bit like a bell. So to get a harmonic, you have to kind of just gently rest your finger above the fret. So when you're actually pushing on a fret, you can kind of push, you've got a little bit of flexibility as to where you push. But when you're doing a harmonic, it has to be quite precise above the fret. Okay, and a little bit more advanced harmonics, you've got the 3rd of the string, so on the 7th fret. So that makes a completely different sound, really nice. Yeah, these are called natural harmonics because they're the natural frequencies of the string. So a quarter of a string would be on the 5th fret. So have a little play with the 12th fret, 7th fret, and the 5th fret. So you also get something called pinched harmonics. So natural harmonics are kind of basically harmonics on the 12th, 7th and the 5th fret, but sometimes you might need a different sort of pitch or you might want a different sort of effect. So a pinched harmonic is where you kind of pluck and use your thumb to make the harmonic at the same time, which is quite tricky to do actually. But have a go if you're more advanced, you can have a little go with pinched harmonics too. I hope you found that lesson useful. Please do click subscribe, and also you can click the notification bell to be notified whenever I put up new lessons. Do go to my website trevwilliams.co.uk where I put up lots of other content. Also, I do make my living from music, so if you want to donate, please do. That would be really great, and I'll see you soon. Bye.